Welcome, everyone. I'm going to present on how to bring your family ancestry research platform into the community colleges. I use FamilySearch, and here's some of the reasons why. It's web-based and it's free of charge, and free of charge really is the key point when we're bringing it out into the community, because people get excited about FamilySearch and then they take a break, and they get excited about FamilySearch and they take a break. So when we bring them into FamilySearch, they can keep all their things and have access whenever they feel the itch to get back on. FamilySearch, of course, also is a place to build your own family tree on a worldwide tree. And it provides you access to billions of records and an opportunity to look through all those digital records across the globe. The details of our specific program, what we're doing, I'm here in Montgomery County, which is right the suburb in Houston. So Montgomery County has a community college, Lone Star Community College, and we are tied into the Adult Lifelong Learning Program. That means all of our students are 50 years or older, but this is easily adapted to any group of any age or any size. The facilities in our situation before COVID, we were going into computer lab on campus. We would go in and all we really needed was the computer lab with the projector so we could present. Once COVID hit, we couldn't meet, of course, and we were still 2 years later on Zoom. Our demographic is higher risk, being older in age. So I don't know how long we'll stay on Zoom. It's working really well, but we do it through the breakout rooms. That's critical. If you do it, you have to have an account that you can be on long enough and that will allow you to do breakout rooms. Our format is 5 to 6 weeks of lessons, depends on when we do it. We do it January, February, and then again, September, October. They're 2-hour classes. We do 20 to 30 minutes of instruction, and the remainder of the 2 hours is one-on-one help and independent work time. The support you need to make this happen, you'd have to prepare maybe a PowerPoint module ahead so you know exactly what you're going to teach each time and the students can follow along, and then you email them the PowerPoint at the end of the class. So in the week, they have the reference. When they have a question, they can go look up how we did it in class and then be able to replicate it in their own research. We also had volunteer helpers. When we were in person, I had a ratio of 1 helper to 5 students. They would roam the room. When anyone had a question, they'd raise their hand and then the helper would come over. On Zoom, we had to do it 1-to-1 because of the breakout rooms. You're in a much more isolated setting. In both cases, sometimes you'll have a novice helper. I was certainly a novice helper when I started, and I would really target those beginners because I could answer all of their questions. I've learned a little bit and I'm a little better now. I can do a lot more, but there's still things that I'm just not an expert at. So in the Zoom situation, we have our experts out in the main room and all the other helpers one-on-one in breakout rooms. So then if I, as a helper, have a question that I can't answer for my student, I pop out to the main room, ask my question, return back to the breakout room with my student, and we're able to move forward. In the in-person setting, with the 1-to-5 ratio of helper to student, if I can't answer the question, then I just raise my hand, I flag down one of those expert helpers to answer their questions. You can also, I should say, the last session we just finished in February, we did try out, instead of having modules and going through a PowerPoint, we did try live teaching. When we were in the classroom setting, that didn't work super well because of the lag time of the computer and finding the pages. It just took, every page took a long time to load. So it wasn't very workable in our particular computer lab. But on Zoom, at our own houses, we seem to have better luck, and live teaching with a live website interacting worked fairly well. You do have to pre-think and know if you're trying to demonstrate how to research something, then you have to pre-look ahead and know that it will be there to find, so you have the example you need to teach the thing you need to teach. That was a downside to teaching live. So these are the 6 weeks, how we broke out FamilySearch and how to teach it. The first week, of course, is just getting started. Set up your free account, tour the software, how to navigate, and then putting in personal data that you know about yourself. My name, my maiden name for the ladies, we have to teach them that you always put the maiden name, your birth date, your siblings, your parents, where they were born, all the stuff that you just know about yourself in your head. And that gets a really good start. Then on week 2, we start showing them how to edit. And hopefully between week 1 and week 2, we find at least one person that's deceased that ties into the big global tree. But on week 2, we go ahead and start looking at those record hints. Once we've got someone deceased tied in, we start searching the record just a little bit, attaching those sources from those record hints. We also teach them how to merge duplicates and edit person's data, and make really important that they know that everything needs to be standardized. You can't just type in a date. You have to type in the date and then click the calendar to make sure it's a standardized date. Therefore, it's searchable by the computer, and that will start getting them the record hints. With week 3, they now have a fair amount on their tree, and we start teaching them how to do research, how to massage the research search bars, so that say I'm looking for a child of a couple who was married in the 1800s, and I know the childbearing years of the woman would be from X date to X date, give them a 20-year span. And then we start looking for any children with those parents, those kinds of things, and how to massage things like that so you would get different results. And we go through how to attach all those internet sources using the research wiki to help us understand what actually was going on in that country or in that town at that time in history. So, because a lot of places change names, and the document will say this city, and this city doesn't exist anymore. So using the research wiki, we can actually research name changes of locations, etc. Week 4 is a lot of fun. We make sure we tell them ahead, please have available or bring to class stories or journals that you want to put into the record. And we have a lot of fun with that. We teach them how to do it first through FamilySearch directly, and also through the app called Memories. It makes it really, really easy to add it. If they've got the Memories app, they can just snap a photo with their phone and it goes straight into the record. Then we go back to the computer and we tag it and put all the details of dates and names. And then FamilySearch starts to really come alive when you click on your family tree, and instead of empty silhouettes, I guess, of blue for boys and pink for girls, now you actually have a picture of grandma showing up in your family tree. So it just really brings it home. Week 5, we play around with the family tree app and other features. We navigate through the app and show them that you can actually do a lot of this while you're waiting at the doctor's office. And as long as you've got maybe a little tablet or something, you can make progress on your family history. We also, our demographic, as I mentioned, is grandparents, essentially, right? A lot of grandparents. So if you poke around in family history, there's a whole section where they have games and pictures and all things to really pique the kids' interest. You can put your photo in and it'll show you what you look like if you had lived in China. It'll, costume and traditional dress. It will morph pictures and tell you which ancestor you look the most like by your facial features. So it's a fun way to tie in the grandkids, and that's a lot of our students will take that to their grandkids and catch their interest and get them wanting to do family history and learning the stories. One of the highlights is doing the relatives around me. If you're in the physical classroom, we do relatives around me, and that is where we take the app, we all log in at the same time, and it looks at who in the room am I related to. And we inevitably find out a lot of people have very distant relations and have never met, their 7th cousin twice removed. But it's kind of fun to know you've gone through this learning process with someone that you are literally related to. Now on the online, when we're in the Zoom, we can't do that. We're not physically close. So we use the relative finder. I think it's .org website, relative finder, and you have to preset that up ahead of time, and then give everyone the passcode, and it will tell who you're related to. The last week is indexing. Everyone now has seen the value of being able to find records that are digitized, and we show them exactly what the process is to get records digitized and how they can give back to the community of genealogy. These are just examples of our PowerPoint. If you're familiar with FamilySearch, it should look really basic to you. This is just a person page, but in our class, we're explaining the green box, little arrow. This is a person ID number. We're going to work with this a lot. Remember where to find it. And the red box, click any of these tabs to go to a different section on the person page. So this is what our PowerPoints look like. It's a step-by-step what you'd need to know to operate. And then we email this out and they can use it through as a reference through the week when they get stumped on their own family history. We're again on a person page, and it says, if you've clicked Mary in the red, then a little pop-up summary card comes, and here's what you can do, and here's how you can navigate through Mary's page. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you find success bringing this into your local community and teaching and bringing family history in whatever form to whatever group you work with. Do you guys have any questions? How can we help you get this started in your local communities? Jennifer.
So do you share these PowerPoints with other folks, or are these just suggestions for how we may create our own?
They're just suggestions. Again, since these were made in 2019, a large majority of little clicks and bobs have changed. And I told you we did go live this last time, so it is not currently in a state to share because they changed it in 2021 and they changed it again. FamilySearch, the website. Yeah. So it doesn't work, but.
Right. Do you have anything else that could be shareable so people don't have to like start from scratch? Or, I mean, I totally can, but sometimes I'm a big believer in don't reinvent the wheel. So
I would refer you to Carrie Ann Prince. She's the administrator out there, the one that set it all up. And she's the owner, so I can't share anything. Sure. And she'll expect to be asked.
No problem.
What else can I answer? Sherry.
So if PowerPoints aren't available, I'll definitely touch base with Carrie Ann on that. But what about a rough syllabus? Something a little more detailed than kind of what we just went through here, what you just went through here. But, how do you even promote it to the community? Do you have a little write-up that you put in the lifelong learning, flyer that goes out to the community? What is your marketing? How do you get the word out? Maybe some of those types of materials, and maybe just like a one-page summary or something that you use, because I'm sure that most people initially are intrigued, but then their immediate follow-up question is going to be, what exactly do you do there? And do you give them like a piece of paper or send them to a web page or something with a nice little synopsis?
Oh, well, we have a very, very active adult lifelong learning, as in they mail the catalog, and it's probably 80 pages of small print. And so we are just one of many, and therefore we've never had to do any advertising. We went from 30 students to 50. Our class fills within 2 days every time. So we don't advertise. They had a snafu once, and they did the registration wrong, and they let 100 people in, and we're like, we can't teach 100 people. We don't have 100 computers. So we have not actually had to advertise. There's also an ancestry class in our local community, and another one. I can't remember what other platform, but there's the 3 platforms, and they all fill every time. So we've done 0 advertising.
What community are you in, and how large is your community?
We're in Houston. So the north side, we're in Spring, Conroe area.
Used to live there.
Okay, so you know exactly. Okay. We teach at Montgomery County on 242.
So you mentioned earlier that you've done the same program with youth groups and other things like that. So how have you experienced reaching out to groups beyond the adult learning program?
Well, I am LDS, and our youth group program, then of course all our kids know that, you know, mom and dad and grandma are doing this. So it's not a surprise to them when we say, hey, we're going to do family history tonight. We say, set up your account before. At this point, most of them have an account, whether if they haven't been in for several years. But I did take these modules because I only have 1 hour in the youth group. So we skip all that administrative stuff at the beginning because I assume, you know, by the time you're 16, you've done this because you're in our church. So we go right to the research with my cohort of children, of teenagers. The kids are too young, but I go straight to the research with them. And then I always allow for that walk around help time because that's when they're going to get something out of it. If their heart is going to connect to the effort, it's going to be during that work time. And I go straight to the research, and honestly, it's too much for them to bring in a photo, but they all have their phones. So I say, scroll through your pictures on your phone and put it in directly because they've got it on their phone. So those are the two things I do to really capture the heart of the teenagers. And some of them absolutely love it. And some of them are like, whatever, can we play basketball? Where are the cookies? So I'm thinking of the synopsis. I can think of one way to get that. I can, from the PowerPoint, we have at the beginning of each one, this wouldn't have changed. So I could supply that to you. If you want to write down can you see my name there? Okay, my name is there. My email is azufelt, spelled funky like that, AZUFELT, @gmail.com. And I can put together a synopsis or the beginning of each PowerPoint. We have a one-pager, you know, what page to find each thing on. Because we email the PowerPoint out after the class, and it's their reference through the week so they can work on things. They can remember, oh, I can't remember how to research. They'll open that PowerPoint and they'll go to, you know, oh, page 7, and they go straight to it. So that actually, I can snap those together. I can send those to you. I think that would be very helpful. And then I'll have it for next time.
Thank you. That'd be fantastic. I appreciate all the information you gave. I'm going to jump to another group too.
Is this just at the Montgomery County location?
In person, and again, we're on Zoom. So if we go back in person, it's only going to be at that Montgomery County on 242. If right now it's open to everyone because it's on Zoom, it just comes in the catalog, so everyone can sign up. I mean, you could live in Clear Lake or Sugar Land and still come to our class virtually.
So you just have to be part of Lone Star College.
Yes.
Be able to get into it.
Mm-hmm. And so you just sign up, Google Lone Star Adult Lifelong Learning, and it'll pop up.
Okay. All right.
And then you can join it. I think at one point it was $25 a year for all the classes.
Do you think this is something that somebody could take into a community center or library?
Absolutely. Your limitation is going to be devices.
Right. But if people were to
take it,
if people were to bring their own laptops,
yes,
it would probably work, wouldn't it?
It would be a huge blessing to community center. Yes, I love that idea.
Okay. Who would I contact if there was somebody who wanted to do that? Who would I contact to get copies of your PowerPoint?
Carrie Ann Prince, she's out in the main room. She's the one that wrote them. I will tell you that they're outdated now because they have changed FamilySearch. She's not really giving them out, but we can. One thing, the last folks that were in here, they asked if I could provide like what we taught. Are you in FamilySearch? Is that your platform you're using?
Yeah, I'm a member of the church.
Oh, okay.
And I know Carrie Ann, I've got her contact information.
Okay, good. So if you want to email me, one thing I can do is provide you, if you wanted to do your own something, the table of contents from all of those 6 lessons. What am I trying to say? Like
the syllabus?
Yeah, like a table of contents for the 6 weeks then. And then, because if you had good Wi-Fi or internet connection and you went into the community center, you could do it live. And you wouldn't need the PowerPoint necessarily. And because that's what we changed to this last time, was live teaching, and it worked fairly well. But you would just need that, what am I going to teach next? What am I looking for? I would need that, or I'll get distracted.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So the lesson outline, as long as you
outline, that's the word.
yeah,
Yes.
then you could go ahead and use your own computer to teach it.
Yes. Okay. So the gals that just left have asked for the lesson outline, and I will provide that to them. So they sent me an email. You're welcome to send me an email. My email, azufelt@gmail.com. You send me a note, and I've got a busy week with girls camp, but I will get that to you.
Okay. All right.
And then you could teach it live. I love that you take it to the community center. That'd be fantastic. And if you're going to do that and they don't have devices, I had good luck posting in my neighborhood that I wanted. Do you have an old computer that you don't use anymore? And all I need is an internet browser, right? So I just took whatever. And then Carrie Ann and Cindy Cheney were actually teaching the missionaries over in the Woodland Stake every Tuesday. And they just gathered all these computers and they would bring them to the church, and they lay out the 8 laptops and teach the missionaries. And then the missionaries were the original helpers in the class over at Lone Star.
Right. Okay.
You could probably collect some computers from folks, just telling them that I'm teaching in the community and I need old laptops. I had good success.
Okay.
Collecting from my neighbors. Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
I know we're almost out of time, so let's just start with how can I help you rather than do the presentation. Are you interested in bringing FamilySearch or something into your community?
Well, yes and no. I am part of a genealogy society where I live. I live in Fred, Texas, which is northeast of Houston.
Okay.
About 2.5 hours. I'm in the Beaumont Stake area, if you're a member.
I am.
And so I'm part of the Genealogical Society and Library in Hardin County.
Mhm.
And then my husband and I are the family history consultants of our branch.
Okay.
Because of COVID, I have not been able to go to church and do a whole lot lately. So it's frustrating as all get out.
Oh, I can imagine.
But the one thing I was kind of wondering about is like how our community is very, how do I put this? Very religiously different. I'll put it that way. There's a lot of Baptists, a lot of, non-denominational, and they don't really view the church as a great place to go to get family history work.
Okay.
So we were talking it up on one of our Zoom meetings a while back, trying to figure out how we could get more people out and still stay COVID safe.
Mm. Well, I would recommend Zoom. We've been doing Zoom since COVID hit. So we used to do our class. Carrie Ann made modules, and then we presented them in the classroom for 5 years, I would think, for at least 4. And then COVID hit and we had to rethink the wheel, and we went on Zoom. So we just made sure that we had enough people for the breakout rooms. In the classroom, you could have a roaming helper, but in the we needed one-on-one because you go in this isolated breakout room. And then we have keep an expert out as the administrator. And then if a helper in a Zoom in a breakout room doesn't know the answer, they can pop out, ask for help, and then pop back in to help.
Okay.
Something else we added was, well, so we had PowerPoints pre-canned, ready to go, put them on the PowerPoint, put them up, and it worked really well. And then we'd email those out so they had reference. But the last time, which we just ended last week, our 6-week class, we did it live, I guess. So we logged into the actual website because we weren't on the college campus anymore. We didn't have such terrible lag time. The computer lab was just so slow. Teaching, you just didn't know if it was going to be fast enough. And so at their home, it worked really, really well. They popped them up and click, 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 and they showed it live on their own family trees, the teachers this time.
Okay.
It worked out great. Those would be my 2 pieces of advice.
Okay, that gives me a good idea to, the issue is trying to get some of our people on Zoom. So I guess we just need to have a tutorial of how to start and use Zoom and then go from there.
Yeah. So when we first started the class, we did a test day, and I think they even did it this time. I just don't ever log on because I know what I'm doing now, right? I think they just did the week before a 1-hour open window, pop in at any point, and the administrator, so you would be online for that hour, and you say, click this link and we'll help you.
Okay.
And so then you did all the Zoom learning before your class starts. And
okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You have a great day.